Hello student, very good morning to all of you. How are you? I hope you all are happy, healthy and fine at home. Do you remember what were we discussing yesterday? I think we were discussing about the Haworth projection formulae, how to convert Fisher projection formulae into as a Haworth projection formulae means cyclic form of the glucose, and where we have discussed about the anomers means two form of the D plus glucose, alpha form and the beta form, how to represent these structures, how how will how do we convert that Fisher projection formula into as a Haworth projection formula. Haworth projection formula, how it is better than the Fisher projection formula as per as a cyclic ring structure is concerned, that we have discussed yesterday. Today what we are going to discuss, today we are going to discuss about the reaction of cyclic glucose, and whatever in one of the lecture we already discussed about some of the reaction of the glucose. Now, according to as a Fisher projection formula, we are writing that structure and treating with the various reagent, and we are getting as a product that type of the reaction we have seen over there. Here let us see little bit reaction of cyclic glucose, and as we know that, let us see here reaction of cyclic glucose. So here I am writing just as a one of the reaction of that cyclic CH, then carbon atom over here, or we can just write here 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and one more 4, and here CH2OH, that is a cyclic form of this hydrogen atom. And now here we can not cyclic structure is not the here. Let me make that correction properly over here. Here is a OH, and then here is a cyclic structure where in the middle we know that here hydrogen at hydroxyl group lying on the right hand side, hydrogen atom lying on the left hand side. The next case, here hydroxyl group on the left hand side and is on the right hand side. Here hydroxyl group on the right hand side and the hydrogen lying on the left hand side. So this is a structure number 4, remember here. And when this structure, this is a cyclic structure of glucose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, there are the 6 carbon atom. It is a cyclic form of glucose. When it is treated with the methanol CS3OH in presence of acidic medium at HCl, reflux it is one of the technique, or at an boiling point, that process is known as a refluxing. When it refluxing, it selectively replaces this hydrogen atom by methyl group. This hydroxy group get replaced by the this methyl group, or hydrogen atom get replaced by the methyl group, so that you are going to get over here CHO CS3, and rest of the thing remains as it is. 1, 2 and 3 you write as it is, 1, 2, 3, and that fourth one is required for ring formation, and last one CH2OH remains as it is. So here again just you draw this cycle as it is, hydrogen atom, rest of the thing remains as it is, hydroxy on the right hand side, hydrogen atom on the left hand side, another hydroxyl group on the left hand side, hydrogen on the right hand side. Here hydrogen atom on the left hand side, hydroxyl group on the right hand side. What we did over here, only this hydrogen atom get replaced by the methyl group, that the reaction takes place specifically in this cyclic form of the glucose, and when this compound further treated with this one CS3 twice SO4, this is the compound, the name of this compound is a DMS, means dimethyl sulfate, and this is this compound always treated in presence of the sodium hydroxide, means alkali. So what is the function of alkali here, or the base? Base will abstract all the hydroxyl proton over here and form as a negative charge on that oxygen atom, and they are further attacking on that methyl group, and the resulting compound, what do you get over here? Let us see here. You are going to get here product CH, then O, CS3. It is as it is, and then rest of the thing 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the last one is CH2, O, CS3 it becomes. And now this ring once again it remains as it is. Here hydrogen atom. Now look at here on this side hydroxy group, there oxygen, and then you put as a methyl group, hydrogen atom over there. Instead of that hydrogen get replaced by methyl group, and rest of the thing remains as it is. Here hydrogen you write as it is, whereas this hydrogen atom get replaced by the methyl group. Observe this structure carefully. All the hydroxyl group or hydroxyl, the proton get replaced by the methyl group, that methylation occur, and this is the structure number. This is the structure number first, this will be the structure number second, and this will be the structure number 3 over here. And now this structure, when treated with this one, when treated with SCl, I am writing over here SCl, when it is treated with SCl, what you are going to get? So remember, I am taking as a structure number third over here. Let me here the structure number third, when it is treated with hydrochloric acid HCl, what is going to happen here? Only this get deprotection occur at that particular site only, and the remaining thing remains as it is. So here 1, 2, 3 and 4, and last one is a CH4 CS3, it remains as it is. Then we can write this thing as it is here, hydrogen atom. Now there only this methyl group get replaced by the hydrogen atom, other methyl group they are remains as it is. Then CS3O, hydrogen atom, then OCS3, and this hydrogen atom. Look at this carefully, only this methyl group get replaced by the hydrogen atom, other things remains as it is. This will be the structure number 4 here. And now when this structure number 4, when it is treated with again Br2 in presence of, as we know that Br2 in presence of water heated at 90 degrees centigrade, reaction takes place, and what type of the product you are going to get? Look at this hydroxy group, this is the secondary alcohol, and Br2 in presence of water, it is a mild oxidizing reagent. What it will do? It will oxidize the secondary alcohol into the ketone. so that in this particular case you are going to get C double bond O, and rest of the thing remains as it is, this 4, and then last one CH2O CH3, this also remains as it is, and this ring formation as it is, and rest of the group they as it is OCH3 hydrogen atom on the left hand side, here methoxy group on the left hand side, whereas hydrogen lying on the right hand side. In this case hydrogen atom lying on the left hand side, whereas OCH3 group which is lying on the right hand side. So this is the structure we got over here. Now when this compound, this is the structure number 5th, and when this structure number 5th when treated with this reagent HNO3 nitric acid, which is a strong oxidizing reagent, this is also as a oxidizing reagent, but it is a mild oxidizing reagent, and this is a strong oxidizing reagent. Remember these things. And when this strong oxidizing reagent, what it will do here, this will convert this ring, lactone type of the ring get open, you are going to get here CO2H, and rest of the thing remains as it is, 1, 2, 3, and here this lactone get open in a such a way that you are going to get here OH and here hydrogen, and another one CH2 and OCH3, they are remains as it is, OCH3, here hydrogen atom, here CH3O hydrogen atom, then H, then OCH3. This is the compound which we got over here. This is the what we can call it as a some intermediate we are getting, and further still there is a what we can call it as a HNO3 still there. So after that HNO3 again, NO3 remains there. This is a strong oxidizing reagent, and this is the bond is going to break over there, and you are going to get the product 1 carbon atom less over here, and you will get here this type of the compound. Look at here CO2H, this one 1, 2, and this 3, and this one is CH. Now this get oxidized CO2H. This is also as going to convert into as a carboxylic group, and rest of the thing they are remains as it is. Here OCH3 hydrogen atom, then CH3O hydrogen atom, then H and OCH3. That is somewhat degradation type of the reactions are there. 1 carbon atom is less, and there are the 2 dicarboxylic acid we have prepared over here. So these are the sum of the reaction regarding that what we can call it as the actual reaction of the cyclic glucose. This is one of the important reaction we have discussed over here. The next point what we are going to learn, let's see over here. Let's clean the board first, and then we will see the next point of discussion. Let us discuss the next point over here. And what is that point? The point is actual size of the sugar ring. Next point will be actual size of sugar rings. Actual size of the sugar ring. Actual size of the sugar ring. What is the actual size of the sugar ring? That we are going to discuss right now. Since glycoxide, as we know that the glycoxide formation under glycoxide, such as whatever we have seen reaction, that is that type of the glycoside. Glycoside gives glycoside formation under different condition gives compounds containing different sized rings. The important question then is, what is the size of the ring in the original sugar? That is the question arises here. What is the actual size of the original sugar? Oxidation of an aldose. Aldose, we know that it containing as aldehyde group. Oxidation of an aldose with hypobromite produces an unstable delta lactone. Just now we have seen delta lactone. Lactone means what? The ester group is occur in the ring. That type of the organic compound are termed as lactone. When they are in a open chain, a cyclic type of the compound, then we can call it as a ester. But when it is involved in the ring structure, lactone C double bond O in the ring, so that type of the organic compound are termed as a lactone. Do remember this. And this is the first product, but slowly changes into the stable gamma lactone, and you might be familiar with alpha, beta, gamma, that type of the designation. And Hudson 1932, Hudson 1932, Hudson is a scientist name. In 1932, it therefore follows that the size of the ring in a normal sugar is pyrans. Yesterday we have seen pyran rings are there. Pyran, what type of the ring? That pyran has that type of the ring, one oxygen atom. This is a pyran type of the ring present over there, 6-membered ring containing as a oxygen atom. Pyran ring in a normal sugar is a pyranose ring. And by analogy, ketones are also believed to exist normally as a pyranose compound, and this pyranose structure has been confirmed by X-ray analysis. Whether that pyranose ring, how do they confirm? They did the experiment, and by X-ray analysis, and they find out the structure of pyranose ring in a sugar. So this is the what the question, actual size of the sugar ring means, that containing as a pyranose ring in a sugar, that is the actual ring size of that glucose. Now next point we are going to learn about the conformations. Next point of the discussion is a conformation. Next point of discussion is a conformation. Conformation, as we know that just by rotating as a carbon-carbon single bond, we are getting as a different structure is known as a conformations. So a D plus glucose contain the 6-membered pyranose ring, right? 6-membered pyranose ring, since the COC bond angle is found to be 1 degree, that is the bond angle found there, is nearly equal to the tetrahedral angle. Tetrahedral angle, we know that it is a 109.5 degree. It is nearly tetrahedral angle 109.5 degree. 5 degree. The pyranose ring should be quite similar to the cyclohexanone. Cyclohexanone, as we know that in they are exist in a cyclic structure. Cyclohexanone means this is a normal structure of that cyclohexanone, but it is actually present at an equilibrium position in a most stable conformation as a chair conformation over there. And the Paranus ring should be quite similar to the cyclohexane ring, and it should be puckered and to minimize the torsional and van der Waals strain should exist in chair conformation in preference to twist boat conformations. X-ray analysis shows this reasoning to be correct, but there are two chair conformation possible for D plus glucopyranose, anomer first and second for beta D plus glucopyranose. Let us see, for example, we have a two structure over here. This is a structure. Now this is a chair conformation. What is that? This is a beta. Beta means that hydroxy group at anomeric position should be above the plane, means on a beta side, and rest of the hydroxy group, as we know that they are present at equatorial position like this. Here all the bulkier group, they were present at equatorial position. That will be the preferred conformation of that chair form, and therefore it is here. When it is, this is a what we can call it as a more stable conformation. This one, first one is a more stable conformation. Why more stable conformation? If you observe this structure carefully, you will see all the bulkier group, they are present at equatorial position, and therefore there will be a no 1,3 diaxial interaction, and therefore that conformation is a most stable one. And now when it flipping means a process where one chair conformation is converted into as another chair conformation, and during that process equatorial bond becomes as axial, whereas axial bond becomes as a equatorial. So that's the things happening over there. And now after the flipping, what is going to happen? After flipping, you are getting this type of the structure, right? This is the structure which we are getting over here. This above top carbon atom that goes below here, and this below carbon that goes above the plane. Now this is the carbon number 1 we are considering here, and here go above means what, that hydroxy group that goes in a axial position. This carbon number, if you number this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and 6th one is a hydrogen, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Look at one position, hydroxy group below the plane, above the plane, it remains above the plane, but that becomes as a axial one. Here is a equatorial, now it becomes as a axial one. Now at carbon number 2, it below the plane, and that becomes as a axial. Equatorial, that is going to convert into as axial one. At carbon number 3, look at above the plane, so it becomes as axial. And at carbon number 4, that below the plane, that becomes as axial one. And at carbon number 5, that equatorial above the plane, and that becomes as axial. This will be CH2 and OH over here. So this is a conformation we got over here. All the bulkier group now present at axial position. There are lot of 1,3 diaxial interactions are there here. Bulkier group, lot of steric interactions over here, and therefore due to this reason, look at the whatever group they are present at 1,3 position, they create the lot of steric interaction because they do not have a sufficient pace to stay there. Insufficient pace, and due to insufficient pace they are trying to push physically to each other, and that type of the interaction are known as 1,3 diaxial interaction. And once the interaction is increases, the internal energy or the potential energy increases. Once the internal energy increases, there is a general rule: if the energy increases, stability of that molecule goes on decreasing, and hence this compound, this conformation, which is a beta side, but all the hydrogen atom are on the axial position, and therefore it is becomes as a less stable. This will become as a less stable ion, less stable, and all the bulky group axial, all bulky group axial position, and therefore it becomes as a very, very unstable. So this is the structure of beta D plus glucopyranose. This is the structure of beta D plus glucopyranose. This is the structure of beta D plus glucopyranose. Look at this. Why this conformation is more stable than this one? The reason just now we have seen. All the bulky groups are axial. They create a lot of steric interaction, 1,3 diaxial interactions present over there, and that's why it becomes as a less stable as compared to the first one. Which of these is the more stable one? The one in which the molecule spend most of the time. For beta D plus glucopyranose, the answer seems clear. Force in which all bulky substituent CH2OH and OH occupy roomy equatorial position should certainly be much more stable than second, in which all bulky groups are crowded into axial position. Again, X-ray analysis shows this reasoning to be correct. Right? And what can we say about alpha D plus glucose and the other aldohexoses? And this problem has been largely worked out by R.E. Reeves through study of copper complexes, and in general the more stable conformation is the one in which the bulkiest group CH2OH occupies an equatorial position. For example, let us see over here. So once again let us see how this will be more stable than the another one conformation. Now let's see here the conformation I am writing over here. Look at, this is a shear conformation of alpha. Now alpha means that hydroxy group are below the plane, and all other hydroxy group they remain at equatorial position. That is the structure of what we can call it. This hydroxy group is below the plane and it is on the alpha side, and therefore it is alpha D glucopyranose. This is the structure of alpha D glucopyranose, where except anomeric carbon atom, this is known as anomeric carbon atom, and all other bulkier group they are at equatorial position, and therefore this alpha D glucopyranose is a stable conformation. It is a more stable conformation. conformation of alpha D glucopyranose. Now this is a structure number 3, let us mention over here. And now when is, as we know that beta D monopyranose stable beta D mono, here again another structure I am going to show over here. Another structure will be this one. Let me draw this structure once again, where the hydroxy group at anomeric carbon at beta side, one hydrogen atom here, hydroxyl group at axial position, and rest of the group are at equatorial position like this, CH2OH. Now this is the structure beta D monopyranose. This is a beta D monopyranose. Beta, why beta? Because at anomeric carbon atom that OH are on the beta side above the plane, and therefore it is a structure of beta D monopyranose. It is also as a most stable, or it is a stable conformation. Still one hydroxy group is there, one 3-diaxial interaction is there, so no doubt about it, but still it is a more stable. And another, this is a structure number 4, and now is the structure number 3 will be this one. This is another structure where the hydroxy group at alpha side, this one, then another hydroxy group here at equatorial position, this hydroxy also lying on the equatorial position, and then but this hydroxy group lying on the axial position and rest of the equatorial position. And this is a structure number 5, and the structure number 5 is again alpha D galactopyranose. This is a alpha D galactopyranose. This is a structure of alpha D galactopyranose, because we know that there are the 16 various optical isomers are there, or the stereoisomers, and so these are the some of the different structure we have drawn over there, and these structures are shown how their stability become as a more important than the other ones. So that is there. Now in an extreme case, to permit many OH group to take up equatorial position, the CH2OH group may be forced into an axial position. For example, let us see what is going to happen in another conformation. Let us try to understand, try to find out the reason why some of the conformations are more stable than the other one. So let us see over here one structure I am drawn over here. This is a structure, right? And now here is hydroxy group at anomeric position at equatorial position. Here hydroxy group at equatorial position. Again this is hydroxy position, equatorial position. Now this CH2OH group, which is except this group, all other are the present at equatorial position. Still it is the more more stable conformation, more stable conformation. Why this so? Here 4 equatorial OH group, 4 equatorial OH group. Look at here 1, 2, 3 and 4. They are present at equatorial position. Only one axial CH2 OH group, and therefore this conformation is more stable than the other one. Now let us look at as why this one is less stable. Let us see another structure over here, this one. So this is the structure of here hydroxy group at axial position, and this one also present at axial position. Then another hydroxy group which is also at axial position, here also at axial position, only CH2OH which is present at equatorial position. If you flip it, you will get as this type of the conformation, and at that moment what do you see over there? This will become as unstable, whereas this one is stable. This is a less stable. Less stable. Why it is a less stable one? Less stable. Let's see the reason. Over 4 axial OH group, right? 4 axial OH group, whereas only one equatorial this group CH2OH group, and that's why it is a less stable as compared to this one. And this is a structure of alpha D iodopyranose. This is a structure of alpha D iodopyranose. This is a structure of iodopyranose. Why structure of alpha D pyranose is more stable? Because this is at anomeric carbon atom. That hydroxy group at alpha position, this hydroxy group also at alpha position. If you compare these two conformation, which one is the most stable and why, you will get the reason over here. Here 4 equatorial hydroxyl groups are present. They create a lot of steric interaction, 1,3 diaxial interaction present. In this case, only one axial CH2 group is present, and therefore if you compare with this conformation, this will be the more stable conformation of alpha D iodopyranose, whereas this one is less stable because there are 4 hydroxyl groups which are present at axial position. They create a 1,3 diaxial interaction, and lot of steric interactions are there. They are trying to push each other, hence the internal energy increases. Once the internal energy increases, the stability of that compound goes on decreasing, and therefore this conformation is less stable as compared to this one. This is about the alpha D iodopyranose, and in the next lecture we are going to study about very important concept. Remain there, that is a anomeric effect. What do you mean by the anomeric effect? Whatever example we have seen, why one conformation is more stable over the another conformation, the reason also we mentioned over there. There is a presence of 1,3 diaxial interactions are there, and please remember over here the chair conformation means 6-membered ring. It prefer most stable conformation is the chair conformation. There are the various conformations are possible. Here for cyclohexane, if you consider over there, chair conformation, boat conformation, twist conformation, half chair conformation, but out of that, chair conformation is the most stable because it is according to as the van der Waals strain theory or Beer strain theory, they are the strain place, because if you observe their bond angles, it is nearly equal to as a tetrahedral bond angle, and as we know that 109.5 degree, and therefore the chair conformation is more stable, but the chair conformation always go on converting into one chair conformation into as another chair conformation at an room temperature at an equilibrium, and therefore and that process is known as a flipping. Flipping is a process where one chair conformation is converted into as another chair conformation. That process is known as a flipping. But during that flipping, axial bond becomes as equatorial and equatorial bond becomes as axial. And suppose there is a substituted cyclohexanes are there, bulkier group prefer to stay at axial, prefer to stay at equatorial position, and therefore when they are present at equatorial position, there is a no steric interactions over there, and due to this reason, but if they are converted into as axial, when they becomes as axial bond, there is a 1,3 diaxial interactions are there. 1,3 diaxial interaction, it means a lot of steric interaction, the increase the internal energy, and therefore the stability of that conformation is goes on decreasing, and if the very bulky group, there is a no change into as another, means locking of conformation, that in a TYBSc you already learned these things. So I think with this, in the next lecture we are going to learn about the anomeric effect. What is that effect? That is very, very important as far as your exam point of view is concerned. So that we will discuss in the next lecture. I think today's lecture you might have enjoy these lectures. So let me conclude over here. Let me stop today's lecture here. Have a nice day. Thank you.